Hello, everyone. Dear Civica partners, Alliance colleagues, SNSPA colleagues online and in prison. Sorry, my voice has disappeared a bit. I'm speaking on behalf of Sergei Guriev, provost at SNSPA. He's currently unavailable, but he will join us later. We are very pleased to welcome you for the second day of the CIVICA Research Final Conference. The SWAFS project of our alliance. Yesterday, 12 PIs and researchers involved in research projects funded by CIVICA presented the first results of their research, and I hope you found the 4 panels as inspiring as I did. Also, 10 early-stage researchers had the opportunity to present their research through posters, and we will know who the winner is today. Sergei, you will announce it here in this room at 1 p.m. Finally, Philippe Aguillon gave a keynote lecture entitled "Is Green Growth Possible?" It was quite a show, I think. Today we are offering you 2 workshops to present the achievements of our alliance in terms of capacity building, because SWAFS, the objective of SWAFS project is to establish the capacities necessary to develop the research environment of our alliance. We will focus on 2 subjects. One is about research management capacity and excellence, and the other one is related to open science, a subject that emerges as one of the areas where partners have experience to share and practices to share as well. So for these 2 workshops, CIVICA partners and Alliance colleagues, whom I particularly think will share their thoughts and experience. Catherine de Vries will moderate the panel on research management capacity and excellence. So Catherine de Vries represents one of the partners of CIVICA, the Bocconi University in Milan. She is Dean for International Affairs, Chair of the International Advisory Council, and Professor of Political Science. And Catherine is currently completing an ERC grant on the extent to which economic hardship fuels support for the far right in Europe. And Catherine is also a member of the permanent design team, the executive body of CIVICA Research. Niamh Tumulty, don't know if she's, yes, Niamh. So Niamh Tumulty, who represents another CIVICA partner, the London School of Economics, will moderate the Open Science workshop. She's director of LSE Library, which includes the role of managing director of LSE Press. Niamh's approach centers around needs of various disciplines, and she has a particular interest in what open social science would look like if designed from this perspective. And prior to joining LSE, Niamh was head of open research services at Cambridge University Libraries. Finally, we will have a plenary session whose aim is to share our perspective for the future and the future of research within the alliance, our alliance. Sergei Guriev will moderate this plenary session. So he has been SNSPA provost since 2022 and previously served as the chief economist at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. He's professor of economics, and Sergei Guriev's research interests include contract theory, corporate governance, political economics, and labor mobility. So before leaving the floor to the panelists, I'd like to I'll quickly note a few organizational details that the panelists and those who wish to participate in the research and management capacity and excellence workshop, please you remain here. And online, the online people, you can stay online with this Zoom session. For the other workshop, the Open Science one, those who want to participate in this workshop, please follow me. We are going to another room, just in the building, in the glass building behind me. And for the online people, you just have to log into the other online session, Zoom session. Okay, it's mentioned in the chat. Okay, so let me wish you a nice morning, and thank you very much for attending.
So I think we can start. Welcome, everyone. As already was said, my name is Catherine de Vries. I'm very happy to be here. Normally, I sit on steering committee meetings and PDT meetings, and now I think we're going to talk about something that's really important, and that's the management of research. Running several projects myself, I think it's indispensable to have good research management. So I'm really happy to be able to chair this session. A little bit of a background. I will give a short introduction, introduce the panelists. The panelists will provide their presentations. Then we'll have a roundtable discussion where I prepared some questions, and then we open it up to the floor. Yeah, and then if there's anything you want to say, raise your hand either online or in the room. So just a reminder that CIVICA Research was funded on the Horizon 2020 Science with and for Society call. The call allowed European universities to develop a research leg. We are going to talk in the PDT meeting this afternoon about how to extend the research leg longer, because the funding, of course, that's why we're here, partly also is to celebrate all our successes, but also the fact that that particular type of funding has run out. But I think what's been really important, not just to have research collaboration, but also to have it from the research management side. Working in a university that's very research focused, it's just, we couldn't do what the core thing is that researchers do at a university without the research management. So I think for different university alliances that are represented here, it's really important to have this long-term research environment for the alliance. CIVICA Research has sought to strengthen both research management and capacity through a number of initiatives, and also I think especially through sharing best practices. And I think at least what I've heard also when we had a workshop in Bocconi, that's been in the past, that's been very, very useful. So this panel will feature one presentation to showcase the selection of research activities, but then also other ones to be able actually to learn from other European university alliances and how they've done this. So I will just present the different speakers in order. Zainab Mazouz, who's sitting next to me, is a CIVICA Research Coordinator at the European University Institute in Florence, in Italy. She's a member of both the project's management teams and the permanent design team. Sorry, that's the PDT abbreviation that I just used, formed by CIVICA University's Deans of Research. And at the UI, she's responsible for and leading the implementation of all activities related to doctoral and postdoctoral researchers, while also taking activity and part of her time to work on other CIVICA work packages. And this morning, for some of you who are there, we actually had postdoctoral and doctoral researchers in a breakfast this morning. So it nicely moves over. Then to my left, Eleonora Zullo, who is an expert on European and national partnerships at the Central R&E department at Sorbonne University, not very far from where we are. I walked past your university this morning, where she has been contributing to Work Package 1, developing a common research agenda for the SWAF's Train for EU Plus project. She's also seconded at the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, so it's also interesting to hear that perspective. She has 14 years experience of research funding and strategies, and is a board member of EARMA, the European Association for Research Managers and Administrators. So welcome, and we're very much looking forward to hear from you. Antoine Mercier is the Deputy Head of International Relations at Chimie Paris Tech University of PSL since 2017. He's involved in the, and I hope I say this abbreviation, ELISA or ELISA, I think that's probably the way to pronounce it, since the beginning by being a member of the executive board, and he was the first elected chair. with the director of research at the school. He's the co-leader of the work related to research infrastructures in that particular alliance. So thank you also very much for being here today. And then last but not least, Aurelia Kuga, who's a junior project manager and who's currently the local coordinator of the EU Connex Research for Society SWAFS project at La Rochelle Université in France. Also, thank you very much for accepting the invitation and for being here. So as I said, after introducing the different speakers, I will give the floor to each of them and then have some questions. And then we open up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you very much, Catherine. And I also would like to take this opportunity to thank the Sciences Po organizers. Sarah is one of them here, and Elsa, who presented earlier. It's been really an amazing organization, and congratulations. It's a great event. I'm very happy and honored to be here. So what I will... is this one? Yeah, I can use it. Okay, yeah. Great, yeah. So we wanted, with this presentation, to give you some examples of concrete activities we have been developing during the Civica research lifetime that were not directly related to research projects. Yesterday, as Elsa was saying, we had presentations on all the different projects that were funded by Civica Research, but we also had other activities, and we would focus on the ones that allowed for mobility within the partnership. So just a quick overview and reminder of who are the 10 Civica members. So you have the list here, and we are covering a large part of Europe. I also wanted to, before entering into the activities really dedicated to mobility, I want to just give you a quick overview of what we have done in addition to that. So we had also snowball seminars, we had a training inventory about the offer on academic training given in the different universities and how to make them accessible for the partners. We worked on archival policies, and here the EUI took a specific lead as we are hosting the Historical Archive of the European Union. We also, as you can see, have worked on HR practices to better understand how research is managed within the different universities. Library and open sciences, there's a dedicated session, and here I have to thank the LSE colleagues who take the lead and made the tremendous work in giving access to open science trainings. And we had hackathons where researchers and faculty could meet and discuss a specific topic and try to solve it in some cases. So I wanted to give you this overview so you see that we had really a great variety of activities and topics we have been covering. So one of the first, I would say, activity we dedicated for mobility is the postdoctoral mobility scheme. And I'm starting with this one because we have been giving quite an important focus on the PhD researchers, but we wanted to have something dedicated also for postdocs. So we have established this short-term mobility, allowing postdoctoral researchers from the Civica Partner University to undertake maximum of 3 months stay in one of the partner universities. Of course, there was a whole application process, a selection process by the PDT members, and in total we had 11 participants who could visit for up to 3 months one of the Civica partner universities, and we believe it was pretty successful. You could read some quotations from our quotes, sorry, from our participants, and you have, of course, more information on our civica.eu website. Another activity which we believe is quite successful were the doctoral conferences. So these events are aimed at preparing the doctoral researchers for the academic job market. So it takes place during 3 days, and they attend different panels, different sessions. They learn on how to prepare for a job interview, how to write a motivation letter, how to best showcase their experience on a CV, etc. We have discussions. We also have the participation from postdoctoral researchers, so they can share their experience in how they found their postdoc, the challenges, the opportunities they had in their career. And it's been very successful and very welcomed by the doctoral researchers. We had 2 doctoral conferences that already took place. The first one in Florence in December 21, the second one last year in the Stockholm School of Economics, and the last one in next month actually at the Central European University. And the specificity of the next event is that we will also be hosting 10 PhD researchers from Ukraine. This is part of an agreement we have with the Polish Agency for Academic Exchange, NAWA. We had this possibility to enter into a project through our colleagues at SBH in Poland, and we are very pleased to know that we will count on the participation of these Ukrainian researchers. Another activity, this time it's professors moving, it's not the researchers, it's the excellence tours, where we give the possibility to selected faculty members to go in the different Civica universities and make a presentation on a specific topic. Of course, the topics are related to our 4 thematic research areas. As you can see here, the societies and transition crisis of Earth, the Europe revisited, democracy in Europe, challenges to democracy in the 21st century, and data-driven technology. These are few examples of the participants, and actually the first colleague is participating to this event. I saw him yesterday. So you could see like the first one went to Bocconi, to Hertie, to SNSPA. Another one went to Bocconi, CEU, and Hertie. So this is organized internally, and we had in total 15 events taking place in the different universities, and of course giving the opportunity to attend online for people who would be interested but cannot go to Sciences Po, come to EY, or go to Hertie, etc. So these were, in a nutshell, what we have been doing in terms of mobility for both researchers and faculty. So I wanted here to quickly mention the complementary mobility opportunities we are offering and will hopefully continue to offer, but this time through the Civica Erasmus Plus project. As you know, unfortunately, the Civica research is ending this year. There's no continuity of funding, unfortunately. So under the Civica Erasmus Work Package 5, which is led by the EUI and dedicated to doctoral researchers and postdoctoral researchers, we have implemented a postdoctoral mobility fellowship. So this time it's not only for a maximum of 3 months, but it's for 10 months. And it's to give the opportunity to postdoctoral researchers to have an additional year funded in one of the Civica partner universities. In some cases, some universities did not have a completely structured or ready, let's say, postdoctoral program, or for legal constraints were not able to send a postdoc to spend 10 months abroad. So we have been flexible, of course, and allowed for PhD researchers who were about to defend their thesis to apply. So we have given this opportunity, and we launched this call this year in May, and we are already having researchers coming to the UI, to Sciences Po, to Bocconi. So it's already quite functioning, let's say. The summer schools are also a good opportunity for networking, and we had 2 summer schools during the Civica Erasmus pilot phase, and we had a 3rd one in September at the EUI. So there is a specific topic. The researchers from the Civica Alliance apply, they present their own research, and they have feedback from different professors coming from the Civica Alliance. And one of the feedback I've heard from the researchers is that they felt less lonely, which I think is quite important. And of course, we continue with the regular mobility scheme for PhDs through the Erasmus Plus program. Under the Work Package 6 on research, led by CEU, We will have intercampus student-faculty research groups. This will be implemented soon. And we started with short-term faculty visits, and I take this opportunity to advertise about it. These are good opportunity for faculty and postdocs willing to meet with colleagues in one of the CIVICA University to discuss a project, to make a presentation, attend a seminar, to spend from 2 to 5 days. There is a call for application that will be published at the end of this month. So if you're interested or know someone who could be interested, please feel free to share this information and apply. And we will also have calls for thematic activities, again here trying to promote research, collaboration, and maybe, presentation of projects. I hope I wasn't too long. This was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes,
that's
okay,
right.
thank you.
Do you want
Okay.
to do it for you?
Me. Very much. Okay, hello everybody, I'm Eleonora Zuolo. I work at Bocconi University. So I will not repeat what Catherine introduced. I'm here on behalf of 4U+, which is a university alliance founded by 8 different universities in Europe. So there were 6 founder universities to which Sorbonne University belonged. And last year, University of Geneva in Switzerland joined. And then just this year, University Panthéon-Assas as well, Paris 2, joined the alliance. So there are now 8 universities with us, with the 4U+ alliance. I just would like to quickly present a few aspects of our alliance. We have done, of course, many things, and some, let's say, are similar to what you presented and other universities do. I will focus on 2 aspects. An internal call that we launched this year to close the gap between research, innovation and education. And the second thing I would like to focus on is research management and capacity building. So just a few words about the flagships. So since the beginning, the 4U+ Alliance decided to work at education and research innovation level through interdisciplinarity via the constitution of 4 different flagships. As you can see, they are very interdisciplinary. Health, demographic change in an urban environment, and you have European Changing Board, you have information, computation and communication issues about transforming science and society, and biodiversity and sustainable development. So these are, let's say, the education as well as research axis of the Alliance. Then just a quick presentation of the funded projects that we have. Of course, so I work in the Alliance, especially in the Train 4U project, which is the SWAFS project, and we had the Erasmus Plus, and then the second Erasmus Plus, which started last year, the One Core project. We are also involved in the European degree level project Eat a Fish. So Charles University is representing our university in our alliance in that project, and also we are involved in the project on the legal status for European University Alliances. That was also another project that was funded by the European Commission. Just also something important to know is that in 2021, the Alliance decided to create a legal status for the Alliance, so a different entity, let's say, yes, it is an entity, based in Heidelberg, which is one of the universities of the Alliance, and this was, so I will talk about this later because this entailed a lot of transaction costs and human resources, intense activities on behalf of the Alliance, but it was an investment that was decided 2 years ago. About the Train for You, so the SWAFS project of our alliance, we have, so the work packages were similar to ones that don't know, were similar across all the SWAFs. I am particularly involved in the first one, setting a common research agenda, but as you can see, they are quite, they are covering all the aspects of institutional transformation in research and innovation, because this was the aim of this SWAFS project that will end for us at the end of the year, this like in 2 months. In the framework of the Alliance, we decided last year to fund a call, which is called Seed for You Plus. So it's an internal call. And I would say that it's very, it covers a very contemporary issue, meaning the bridge, we try to fill the gap between the education activities covered by Erasmus Plus and research and innovation activities covered by the SWAFs. Partly because, of course, the SWAFs don't cover research and innovation activities per se. It covers only institutional transformation activities, which is also part of the problem of looking forward the new framework funding for the next framework program. So I would like to say a few words about this, about the Seed for You Plus. As I said, we wanted to cover with this funding, which is a very small funding, the ambition of funding research, innovation activities, as well as education activities in the same call. So researchers could propose a project in any kind of missions of the university, so the 4 missions of the university. The idea was exactly to expand the already formed 4U Plus communities and to ensure the sustainability of these collaborations. We funded through a common pot. It was possible to ask for 50,000 euro per project for 1-year project, and then each university puts seed funding in the common pot, so this maybe will be repeated next year. In the end, 70 projects were selected for funding, and the idea is really to as I saw in your presentation, also to make possible for students and early career researchers to join this call. So this was a recommendation, a written recommendation in the call for projects. And then I will, so for my last 2 slides, I would like to focus on the role of research managers and administrators in the alliances, because this is the focus of the panel, capacity building. And why I would like to focus on this? Because I'm not the only one, of course, to say that more capacity and resources are needed to support the development of strategic collaborations in alliances. And more support and resources also means staff, human resources, and that's why I would like to talk about the role of research managers and their role that they play, especially in alliances. So RMAs, this is the way that currently in Europe we refer to research managers and administrators. They are called very differently in different countries, but in France it could be chargé de projet, project manager, or chargé de valorisation, whatever. But actually these are the people, generally in the administration, that cover all the pre-award and post-award issues, but also sometimes they look after the strategy and the strategy of the funding. I do this, I'm a grant advisor as well at the level of the vice president of our university. So we have very different roles actually across the research and innovation agenda. And Just I want to say that what is important to understand is that RMAs operationalize a lot of institutional research activities that are needed. For example, when you're talking about the project management, we have here project managers, research development, meaning let's talk with researchers to say if they want to do something in alliances and they want to work together, we can work with them, we can support them in doing that. Valorization of research and research transfer and open science. And that actually covers all the fields of the research and innovation SWAFs projects. They are also involved in the creation of the proper organizational structures to fund and collectively pool resources in the alliance. For example, if we want to create a common grants support service or virtual development office, we try to do that with our alliance, for example, they will be involved if we want to really pool the resources. And what I wanted to say is this is also the rationale behind the ERA Action 17. So ERA is the European Research Area, is where the European Commission and member states get together to talk about the priorities and the coordination of policies in Europe. So this is exactly the recognition of the profession is at stake, and it is discussed right now by member states and the European Commission in this Action 17. I'm talking about the definition of the profession, the recognition of the profession, the upskilling of research managers. So just to say that what we are seeing now in our alliances actually is taken up at a European Commission level and member states level, because, and it's for the first time that this kind of discussions is being led at this higher level. So everything is linked. And just as for my last slide, I wanted to say that the European Association of Research Managers and Administrators plays an important role in the recognition of the profession. And so in general, we say, so this is the motto of the association, that excellent research support contributes to excellent research. And I'm involved in the association as well as other people here. I know, the university, the members of the association are around 400, and 4,000 people are involved. And we created with a colleague at the Technology University Dublin. We are both in the board of the association, and we created 2 years ago a thematic group on the European University Alliances, exactly to share what we are doing here now, to share best practices among research managers, for example, activities that were implemented to improve research collaborations or to start research collaborations in the Alliance. We also talk about the upskilling aspect of research support professionals, what should be needed, because this is, I mean, the quality and the support of research is not the same everywhere. I know that in Sciences Po you have excellent support, because I know the people that are involved in support here, but it's not the case everywhere, because the funds are lacking and people are not, I mean, this is not a profession which is recognized currently, so we're working on professional training and upskilling. And finally, but not, this is not, of course, the least important thing, is we are also promoting the equal importance of research innovation, education, and social responsibility at the level of the alliances and for the future framework program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. It's always very interesting to share between European alliances what we are doing, and in fact we are doing the same, let's say. So I will not describe everything what we do in ELISA. I will focus on one particular aspect that I can. It will enable me to illustrate how we try to work within ELISA. So I'm from University PSL. I realized yesterday night that my working environment is very different from your working environment, because first, my university is a comprehensive university composed by 11 schools. So first, I have this level of coordination to cope with, which I guess colleagues, you may have not so important activities in that internal coordination. We have two 500 researchers on this. We are based not so far from here, and we all together participate in ELISA. I'm coming from the chemical part of PSL on this. Also, it's very interesting to see how some engineering can also collaborate and see the European collaboration compared to social sciences and humanities. So ELISA is a 10-member alliance covering, I would say, the southeast of Europe. So from Spain to Istanbul. And I think the most up north members are maybe PSL with École des Ponts or Erlangen, and we do not cover the Scandinavian countries on this. So as the name states, European Engineering Learning, we are focusing on the engineering education at the start, because we consider that becoming an engineer in France is not the same as in Germany or in Spain, and there are lots of barriers for our students in terms of professional careers when they are graduated on this. So we started with this, and then we progressively enlarged the alliance towards sustainable development, so an engagement of students. So that was the main aim of ELISA on this student engagement and removing barrier in engineering, and we try to make progress with innovative pedagogy on this. That's why we have the association of accreditation agencies in engineering are part of ELISA. So in the research part, because as everyone, so we were funding during the second call of European University, so we are 1 year behind you on this, so we also try to learn from you on this and other universities. So we started in the research part in May 2021, and among the different aspects that was already mentioned about mobility, about trying to develop a network for young researchers, we also have, as an engineering alliance, a key aspect on facilities. We consider that using facilities is key to develop collaboration and capacity building. When we talk about chemistry or physics, all our researchers and other disciplines needs facilities to develop their research on this. What we realized that, in fact, in the 10 members, very few have a clear picture of the available facilities in their own institution, except our coordinator in Madrid, UPM. So ELISA was clearly an added value to start knowing what we have in our house on this. So we made a survey to do that, you know, the usual activities at European level. But in fact, yeah, it's fine. We have 200 entries, but you do not engage with researcher with the mapping. It's a boring activity. So our challenge is to make this activity useful to researcher on this, and we expect that we think that we find a way to make this interesting for researcher. So first we need to make this mapping a live exercise, because it's like a budget. Once you have adopted your budget, it's already outdated. A mapping, you send the deliverables, and the day after, yeah, it's outdated. So we make it a live document on the web, which is a live platform. In fact, it's not a document. Having in mind that to feed the mapping should be always bottom-up. So there is no top-down instruction or whatever. The researcher, if he or she has a piece of equipment and would like to share it, he or she can do it via the platform, and then we know that it is happening in our labs on this. So no centralized process on this. It's absolutely vital for the alliance. And also no duplication of work. We were thinking about our Spanish colleague not to enter twice the same information in the system. So we try to do it. So it's just a few screenshots on this to see that our facilities are categorized by strategic research area. It's how we call our division of discipline in ELISA by university. And the idea is to have the entry point. So it's a short description, a photo, who is the owner on this. So, and then we try to have more information on, for instance, High Performance Computing Center at the Scuola Normale Superiore. And what is really key in this area is, in fact, the get in contact. Is the mapping is used to get in contact between two researchers on this. So it's not only a view, it's really to start a discussion, a scientific discussion. And that's why the catalog should be more than a vitrine, but a tool that is usable for the researcher. So there's a contact form when you say something about you, and you say, hello, I would like to, I'm interested in your piece of equipment. Are you available to between those dates? And my piece of work is this one. May I send my PhD student or whoever. And for this functionality, we think the researcher will adhere to the process of having their facility on the catalog, because they will be able to make contact with other colleagues within ELISA on this. So that's, and also what we do, so they would like to visit, and so it's a physical mobility. It's easy to make this visit Erasmus compatible, so we can use our regular fund for Erasmus and to make a short visit for staff, academic staff. And this kind of form can also help us as a research manager to filling all the paperwork on this. And once again, it's up to the home institution to decide to develop this kind of collaboration within its own institution. We think about, okay, it's nice to go and visit, but we have to be sure that the researchers are aware of all the rules. So in the portal, we also put the sharing rule of the facility. Some facilities have very strong sharing rules, very specific. So before making contact, researchers are aware that, okay, he or she can go under those conditions on this. We try, so no surprise before contacting the colleagues. And also we realize that most of the researchers in our community don't have any information about how to define sharing rules. There are not global policy. For instance, at PSL level, we don't have a policy on sharing infrastructure. It's always at school level. So this kind of thing. So with this discussion, we also try to harmonize or to discuss how we can share our facilities within the alliance and try to define basic principles to help researchers to share in a good way their facilities. So in a conclusion, I would say that a bottom-up feed of a kind of catalog plus a contact-making facilities attached to some funding like mobility grants, it's really for us a road to joint and shared facility. I was mentioning only existing facility, but when we have this mapping, then we can define and identify gap for joint new shared facility, which is really the long-term objective in all the alliance. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you once again for having me today. My name is Aurélia Couga. I work at La Rochelle University in France, and I am here on the behalf of the Alliance EU Connexus as the local coordinator of the SWAS project in La Rochelle University. So a few words on EU Connexus Research for Society, which is the SWAS project of EU Connexus. As other SWAS projects, obviously, this project aims to strengthen the research and innovation agenda of the European University for Smart Urban Coastal Sustainability. This is our key thematic focus at EU Connexus, which is a 9 partner universities alliance. As you will see on the map, all 9 partner universities except for one are located on coastal areas. So as urban coastal cities, we tend to face similar societal and environmental challenges. And therefore, this is the key thematic of the Alliance. The SWAS project, EU Connexus Research for Society, is composed of 6 partner universities that are listed here. And as other SWAS projects, the objective was to, well, I'm saying was, but the project is finishing in February 2024, so we are reaching the end of the project. It is to develop a joint research and innovation agenda for the Alliance. We, as other alliances, I believe, we explored good practices for socially responsible management of human resources in research, and that entails several activities. Also joint research infrastructure, and my presentation will kind of link to Antoine's presentation. strengthening collaboration with our local innovation ecosystem, and we also conducted a work on supporting the entrepreneurial mindset of researchers with a few activities also on that. And a work was also conducted on sharing good practices in open science and popular science as well. So today I wanted to share our testimony on two activities that supported capacity building and research management in EU Connexus. The first one is the launch of a research and innovation information system, which is kind of a research portal. Basically a website that is going to list research staff, units, infrastructures and services across the Alliance. So we can say that this is kind of the first joint research database in the Alliance, which aims obviously at showcasing as a vitrine EU Connexus research to increase the visibility of our Alliance scientific expertise on those sustainability issues of coastal cities, but most importantly to facilitate connections, and Antoine was also talking about this, to facilitate connections between researchers within the Alliance and to boost research networking and collaboration within EU Connexus, beside obviously other schemes that aim at the same objective, and also from a logistical point of view to easily locate infrastructures, equipment and expertise within partner universities. This was a 2-year-long project. From the time when discussion started, we realized surveys to gather the needs in the different working groups for this research portal. It was a strategic project for the Alliance, so up to the rectors of the universities were actually involved in making decisions. We compared also the solution we would go for between full commercial solutions, and we finally decided to actually develop our own solution. And then there was a phase of collecting some data, initial data, to feed the portal before the launch. And as you can see, we are currently in the launch phase with a 2-step launch, an internal one, where we are going to invite our researcher community to complete their profile in terms of, bottom-up opportunity. And then once we have a bit more data into the portal, there will be a public launch. So we have listed a few key takeaways on this activity, which was an interesting journey. The first one is that data structuration was very challenging because we all have different research organizations in our universities, and it's as simple or as difficult as having a standard, for referring to a research unit or center or institute. So it took us some time to really get to this standard vocabulary where each university research organization would fit into this portal. Obviously, there is a skill set that is needed. We recruited at the Alliance level an IT project coordinator toward the end of the RIS project, but that was that was essential actually in moving the project forward. We know that acceptance is not guaranteed in the research community because it is yet another research portal. Some partner universities already have a CRIS system in place. Some have very basic research database, but this is the first joint research portal within the Alliance. So this is very important for us. So it requires continuous communication to our community, and obviously, same as the catalog, continuous maintenance, because it's obviously a living portal. And finally, it was, as I said, a strategic tool for the Alliance, but beside many other tools that aim to foster research collaborations within the Alliance, from mobility schemes for researchers to research managers, exchanges in our universities to better understand each other's research organization. The second activity we wanted to talk about was related to research networking, when we talk about research collaborations within the Alliance, and the submission of a cost action. So One of the objectives of our SWAS project as part of the Joint Research and Innovation Agenda was to really grow and increase scientific networking within the Alliance on those coastal cities sustainability issues through membership to a scientific network, through conferences, obviously, you know, classical matchmaking events, but also through a cost action submission. For those who don't know what cost actions are, it's a program funded by the European Union, managed by the Cost Association, and basically a cost action consists in developing an interdisciplinary research network. It brings researchers and innovators together on a topic of their choice for 4 years. And cost actions do not fund HR, they do not fund research activities per se, they fund networking activities from events to scientific missions to training schools to conference grants and networking activities. So this is a very interesting opportunity to actually grow networking collaboration within the Alliance. In terms of key takeaways, we are actually going to submit the action soon, so it's not done yet. But we saw that bringing participants together took time for a cost action, especially in an alliance where researchers don't really know each other. In EU Connexus, many universities did not work with each other before the European University. So it took resource efforts and obviously motivated researchers to take part to this new network for them. We got very valuable help from the Cost Association, you know, with information sessions and webinars, and also the national point of contact were very helpful in helping us developing the proposal. And the last point is obviously cost action have a 37% success rate. So even if we are not successful, we know that it was a great instrument for helping us creating this network within, but also outside the Alliance, especially with our stakeholders community. And we know that, you know, preparing the proposal really enabled us to get to know each other better on the thematic that was chosen for the cost action. And even if we don't have this cost action accepted, we will try to continuate the collaboration on this path. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you so much to the colleagues of the different university alliances to share indeed their insights. I was very struck by the fact that it also was a good way to map what you have inside your own university. It's not the first time I hear that. So that's also very interesting that we need an outside element in order to get people to work inside. Also the specific role of research managers. I think that's something, having also spent some time in the United States, but it's a very different setup that I think it's also a part of capacity building in European universities. And I think it also links up to something that Sergei Guriev said yesterday, that when we had our keynote, where a lot of people, I'm kind of the generation that did not seek employment in the United States, but seek employment in Europe. And part of that is that we've been better able at sharing best practices. So I think that's already a great thing that comes from this as well, to get faculty to be connected. And also the last point was very important. Sometimes in areas there are schools that are not necessarily working together, right? So to create these links more general. Another part I think that I also was very interesting and that comes across is that also this has to be indeed bottom-up fed. It needs to be kind of worked in the institutions, and that also some form of technical solutions are really key, or virtual ways of cooperating together within the CIVICA. I participated, for example, also in giving feedback on people's ERC proposals online in different things which you normally do in your own institution, but you can also help others in different institutions. So I think that's really a very important point. So we are a bit shorter than on time than we were envisioned. So what I will do is give you one question and then open it to the floor. And I think what came across of all the presentations, well, this is great, but the funding is either going to run out at the end of this year or it's going to run out in February, right? So I think one of the key questions is to what extent do you think that there is a basis, or what could we do as alliances moving forward to make sure that this build capacity already or build capacity where we have to go is going to have a long-term impact, right? And maybe a related element to that, which is a discussion we've had in CIVICA, so I would like to hear also from the other university alliances, what if we wanted to increase research funding again, which I don't think is happening in the current form as first, but we do think that research is a core thing that we do in universities. What should we be asking for? Is it the networking element that you said? Is it the kind of, you know, technical capacity building? So I think two things. One, what are the things moving forward that can make this build to last, let's say? And then also if we go and try to advocate for more research-related funding at the European level, what should we be asking for? What do you think were the main takeaways? So I would like to hear your thoughts. Maybe we can go in reverse order, if that would be, yeah.
Yeah. At EU Connexus level, we have tried to really integrate as much as possible the research and innovation dimension in the Erasmus Plus part of the Alliance, with, you know, key actions for PhD, for mobility, research mobility. We have developed a project development support office as well. So we have really tried to integrate those activities, knowing that the SWAF's financing was running out. And we are going to also obviously submit and answer other calls for proposal to try to sustain this dimension. We are really happy to have actually recently won the Widera European Excellence Initiative call. And in this project, we have integrated actually SWAF's activities that we would like to continue, including, for example, a mentoring program for early career researchers to research integrity topics and mobility. So this is also an element of answer for EU Connexus.
As for Elisa, as we are multidisciplinary, our leverage is really on seed funding on this. And we realize that with the funding we have, it's just very limited. In Civica, you managed to get a 50K project. We are the biggest project we have with the European or the SWAF funding is 17K. Also, we have big university and we have lots of work to do, and so we use the money for other different things. So seed funding for us is really important. What we realize with the infrastructure or the facilities, that we have the mapping, we try to map also the funding opportunities, and we realize that at level of member state, some have some funding, others are very limited. So it's nice to create shared facilities, but we just realize that there is no funding for that on this. So there is, so we are encouraged to do joint activities, fine, but there is no funding at all. So we need to advocate, at least if we believe that European universities are the ground to create new activities, and we need this funding to create activities. And when the activities have a kind of reach a critical mass, then they can go to Horizon Europe, to Erasmus, to a LIFE program or whatever. But we need this seed funding to start activities, I think. And European university can do that, we believe.
Alliances are a long-term transformational process, as we've seen. We started 5 years ago, and this is nothing when we thinking that they're also enlarging, you know, like 6 at the beginning, 8, some alliances that are made of 14 universities, which inside the universities have also these issues of mergers. Huge universities formed or recently formed have to gather or, you know, information about how they're working also inside. So I think that when we are talking about capacity and future funding, capacity means, in English, it means both resources and competencies. So I think this is interesting to analyze. For me, capacity means upskilling of people, any kind of people involved, but also creating the proper organizational structures so that these European alliances can be implemented. And this is not just like this. This means creating, for example, these common management structures, people talking together, but not only at high level. This is, of course, necessary, but also at any kind of level. And shared management and governance structures take time to build and investments. We have already invested a lot of time, resources during the last 3 to 5 years, let's say. And if we stop now, I mean, all the investments will be lost. So we need continuity and we need sustainability. And this is what we are asking, notably with the signature of the statement that was released on the 29th of September about the future funding and the holistic, integrated long-term funding for the alliances. But I think that what we should keep in mind collectively is that if we want to go the right way, we should look for something that covers both education and research and innovation. This is the most difficult point, of course, because funding is always managed in silos, even at the university level. It's not just the fault of the European Commission, it's any kind of level, but actually universities do both. I mean, so this is, I think, the main issue that will need to be discussed with the stakeholders.
Thank you. So we have, as Aurelia was saying, tried to compensate through the Erasmus Plus program with the launch of the new Civica phase, having more focus on research activities. It's a matter of fact that it's going to be challenging, and as you said at the beginning, we will be having a dedicated discussion to see how we can continue supporting research. However, I must say I'm not very worried in the sense that our alliance is formed by universities who work together, who collaborated together and are research-intensive university before the European alliances, and this Civica alliance just strengthened the existing ties. So it will continue, and we are also hoping, we'll see if this will be possible for all universities to have our own funds put to support research projects, because what we have seen with these call for proposals, we had 3 during the Civica Research lifetime. At the end, I mean, we have funded like big project, but sometimes it was just little money, and it made a lot of it made a lot of difference, and the participants could do a lot. So again, I don't have the answer because we still have to discuss it. I hope I had it, but I must say I'm confident, and let's see also, because if I'm not wrong, maybe not next year, but in 2025, the Commission will be considering putting some funding. I mean, it's something I've heard, I'm not 100% sure, but well, let's see how things evolve.
Yeah, thank you. You were very short in the answer, so I think I can do another question, and then it's great. It's great. And then I open it to the floor. I think also one thing that comes from this, I think we hear very similar things that we discussed in our alliance, that maybe it would also be interesting to think about some form of call from alliances about this research part. I mean, as a person who works in a university, loves to teach, loves to be in management, but you know, ultimately it's the research that runs a place, right? So if we don't have this aspect, we can't train our doctoral students, postdoctoral exchanges, we can't, you know, inform our students for the latest element, or deal with a lot of the challenges just about coastal cities, which seems very relevant today. So I think this call for research in whatever form is really important, even if it's, to be fair, just a signature of not so much money in the end, but I think it just says where we want to go as European university alliances, that this research collaboration is really important. So one last question before I open it up is actually, I mean, not to talk to using European language, but in the EU side, we call this subsidiarity, i.e. what level does what, right? So in some ways what you were discussing, so there's clearly low-hanging fruits, cooperation, information, between elements, but there might be also things that we think alliances should not be doing. So could you talk a little bit about what you think are the advantages of kind of research collaboration of the alliance, and what, or is it that everything can be done at the alliance level? There might be also elements where it gets too far from individual researchers, where there might be, you know, inefficiencies. I wonder if you have any ideas about that. I could go from the other way, or someone who wants to jump in.
I can.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is a very tricky question, because it depends on the strategy. And I think the answer can be very, very different according to what the strategy of the alliance was. I've heard some alliances being very integrated since the beginning. So if you are very integrated since the beginning, for example, building, I don't remember which one, but there's one, building a common university press, like Open Science University Press. I mean, this is very much integrated since the beginning. We have not done that with 4U+, you know. Is that, I mean, if it's what you are aiming at, then it will be even, I mean, very, very university level decisions to be made and to change, to pool resources together in very hands-on aspects of the university management. On the other side, if your strategy is more on the, for example, flagships or some research axis, then it's more tricky because researchers used to stay with their usual collaborations, which is great. I mean, they've created their own. Why should we involve them in something that's not interesting for them? You know, I often come about researchers telling me, "Oh, but what's in it for me? I mean, why should I put it in top of any other like 100 things I do all over the week, you know, especially that because they're also teaching, then, you know, of course. So we have to be able to give an answer to that question to researchers. What are the incentives? What are we focusing on? Are we really focusing on young researchers? And then we have to prove it. I mean, this is, I think, the two different answers.
It's making the choice.
Yeah.
That, by the way, what is in it for us, I think that sounds familiar also within our, anyone else who wants to come in on the subsidiarity issue? Yeah, yes.
Sorry. I don't see it contradictory. Like I think it complements each other. And again, just from the Civica research experience, we had always very positive response to the different calls. And if Civica did not exist, let's say, people would have contacted each other. They would have found a way to work together, and so. I think it's an advantage. It's a plus because it's additional money. Let's say. Again, it doesn't contradict. I think it's important to have both because the more opportunity, and people are eager to have more opportunity. And we had the feedback that, oh, if I knew this existed, I would have done it. Oh, if I so. There is this interest and willingness to do more, to get to know more people and broaden the network. And I mean, we have organized very big events about data-driven technology. This was quite a big important thing within Civica, and we did not fund everything, but we allowed for participation from more people, for analysis, etc. So, well, this is my short answer. I would say thanks.
Yes, believe that European universities shouldn't replicate what is already existing. So we shouldn't create a small Horizon Europe within our alliance. There is no point. Horizon Europe here exists, so we have to use it on this. Also, what our main concern, for instance, at PSL, and I like this sentence, is not to add another layer of simplification. You know, the way we try via the alliance to make the life of our researcher or teacher easier on this. So the catalog of facilities is a way to make it. When we issue a call for seed funding, is really in the perspective to make it simple to start something. And this is really missing in our institution. We do have at PSL level seed funding on this, but thanks to ELISA, we have a seed funding at European level. So, and we start this way of working to really help researcher or teacher to start new initiative on this. And I think this is the main added value. And contrary to Civica, within ELISA, we don't have so many existing collaboration on this. So also we have to create this new community, mainly Eastern Europe with Western Europe, and it's a very long-term objective, but it starts working on that. So do not replicate and try to simplify as much as possible the life of our researcher. And Alliance can be there for that.
I would say it's a bit similar in EU Connexus. We are really looking for efficiency and leveraging, the expertise we have in the alliance. So I would say, what is best done at the alliance level is when we can really leverage the expertise and centralize, have a collective implementation of things. While at the institutional level, we have more like local implementation. So we also try to provide support services at institutional level that are of interest for our researchers, for example, because they don't know so much, they don't know each other so much. And we try to have between the institution and the alliance, this strong quality assurance with feedback loops and validation chains to make sure that our community can adhere to this university alliance, from the working groups where topics are discussed and validated up to the council and the highest governing body back to institutional implementation. I believe it's the same for everyone. We are trying to make people's life easier, and we really try to present EU Connexus opportunities, whether they are seed funding, mobility schemes, as opportunities for our community.
Great, thank you so much. So not wanting to monopolize the asking of questions, I would like to ask the floor. Yes. Oh no, Yelena, exactly. Go ahead. I think you said. Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine. Am I allowed a couple of
go
questions?
Ahead. Sorry, I'm just trying to see who else.
So I have a general question to all. What is, just for us to get a feeling, what is the proportion of research managers and administrative staff to the researchers in your institution, and what would be an optimal this coefficient for us to implement everything we do? So that's my general question. And then a couple of short ones to Eleonora. What is the legal status that you are suggesting for the University Alliance, and what would be the difference by having alliances legally bound by something versus what we have now? For Antoine, my question is, I work a lot with universities on developing access policies for research infrastructures. That's in my parallel life. Mapping is fantastic, but sharing is very, very difficult. So what are the incentives you're putting forward for your researchers to actually start opening up their facilities for users, especially from outside their home institution? And for Aurelia, on the platform that you created, because there are lots of platforms similar like that on the national level. I come from Lithuania. You have Klaipėda University in your alliance. There is a national platform as well, and these platforms require quite a lot of resources, financially and people-wise. So, what technical solution have you figured out to automatically harvest all the data so people are not asked to maintain this database? Otherwise, it will die like in 2 months' time, approximately. Thank you.
So just if maybe to facilitate very quickly, I mean, otherwise I would collect, but then we're not going to get all the answers. So if you could just respond very quickly, and then we can go, because I thought that there was 3. If that goes, otherwise I collect, right? That takes too long. Who would like to? There were specific questions for. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I have all of you on the.
Okay, so to answer the first question, I think it's impossible to say how many research managers there are, because the definition of research managers is not quite done. So, for example, in our university, it's 100 research managers and administrators only at central and faculty level, but I'm not counting all the ones involved in infrastructures, facilities, and lab level. So actually, I don't know. And I think nobody could really say. Maybe if you have a smaller university, you can, but ours is a very big one. The second question about the legal entity. So the legal entity was created to coordinate and to work on the integration of the alliance. As I said, I mean, our alliance is a very huge one. Already Sorbonne University is very, very big university, and actually all the universities are in the alliance are like quite us, like Copenhagen, in Milan Statale, it's very huge and historical universities with 60,000 students each or something, you know, it's just very, very big ones. So the idea of having a general secretariat means that you can more easily coordinate the actions, at least the hands-on actions. Then a strategy is directors and the delegated directors and so on. What is also important to say about the alliance is that the legal entity, was your question, is an association of German law. So then you can choose whatever you mean. It's an association, non-profit association of German law, and it was established in one of the universities of the alliance.
Great. So just very quickly, and then I get the three other questions.
In fact, the incentive for researchers to go on and to put their equipment is not that complicated, in fact. But we realize that researchers are willing to open their facilities or their equipment. Let's say they have top-notch equipment. It's used at 75%. This person can say, okay, maybe I can find a way to optimize its utilization. So I will use the catalog. And the other way, I'm looking for something. I found it. So the catalog is quite useful. So maybe a colleague will need my piece of equipment on that. And you have the scientific added value, in fact, on having a collaboration thanks to your piece of equipment. So on this, I think we believe that the researchers are willing to share. Then we need to support them on how to share, and not to make fancy rules or whatever. But then that's where the support comes. So we don't see any difficulty to enter the catalog, because there is this kind of global spirit willing to share activities, to raise your profile. So that's fine. And the challenge is just to define the right sharing rules that will help this collaboration on this. And we didn't touch the sharing rule. We try to say, okay, we will define common rules at ELISA level. Of course, it's impossible on this. So we try to make them aware of the main rules they can face on this when they will start a collaboration on this. So it's more trying to explain, ease the work, rather than trying to define a rule at ELISA level, which will be impossible. But yeah.
Otherwise, there's 5, I think, other questions. So.
Yeah, I will just answer very quickly also to Irena's.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. So indeed, that's a very relevant question. Out of the alliance, there were 2 partners who already had a CRIS in place. One partner chose not to participate to this activity for the time being, because it was too much resource efforts. And as you said, Klaipeda University already have a CRIS in place. So the decision was made for the time being not to have any integration, given time and financial considerations. But this is really a question we are looking at right now, because we need at some point to have some integrations between portals. And yeah, this is a discussion we are starting now.
Okay, so thanks a lot for this very useful discussion and presentations. Sorry, let me introduce myself. I'm Giacomo Calzolari. I'm Dean of Research at the European University Institute. I'm an economist. So I'm asking a question to all of you as scholar. There was already some discussion of a scholar's attitude, what is in for me as a researchers. Now, and it's a difficult question to answer. Now I'm taking the head of Dean of Research. Now, there is a dimension that I haven't seen so much discussed so far, which is early stage researchers. So what is in it question for me is more for established scholars who have their own established network. I know with whom I would like to work on my research areas. This is possibly different for early stage researchers. So I would ask all of you, what has been your own experience when it comes to the opportunity to give options, connections, networking for early stage researchers in the alliances?
So I think just now, for the sake of time, we're just going to collect. So Yeah, Sebastian's there. Just as a, can we go like that?
Thank you. Congratulations on the presentation. I have two questions, but it's really the same question. First is, how do you measure success for what we're doing in research in those networks? In other words, what's the real tangible output in terms of performance? You know, is it joint publications? Is it more success in applying to joint EU? Is it whatever, you tell me. And then on the basis of the measurement of the success, and my second question is very rhetorical, why don't we all, you know, I'm a former lobbyist in Brussels, right? I used to do that. Why don't we all join forces to put pressure, maximal pressure on the Commission? I mean, it's the best universities in Europe are there. The diversity of European universities is also represented in all the alliances. A lot of the institutions, you know, I'm French, so I see how Sciences Po and Normal can be listened to, for example, in a French context, and it's true for Bocconi in Italy, it's true for, you know, for DEY at the EU level, etc., etc. Why don't we do some massive advocacy work now that the elections are coming up? There will be a new parliament, new commissioners. It would be great if under table they found this enormous political pressure to just fund research and stick to their words in creating European universities. Thank you.
Great, Sarah. And then we'll end on this side. And sorry if there are other questions, we can, you know, do it later.
So I'm Monica Gitarano from CEU, and I have a question, actually two questions for Eleonora about the legal status. So one of them is you mentioned that you needed the legal status for coordination, and I was wondering what's the added value, because we do have a secretariat, we don't have the legal entity, and I think coordination works just fine. Because we were thinking that a legal status is really good to, for instance, do fundraising. And second is, what else are you planning on using it for? And how do you think that would work? Because it's still accredited, it's still received in Germany, so it obeys national laws. And what kind of future you see for developing the legal status? Thank you.
Thank you. Meng Xipang from London School of Economics. My question is for Anton. I was fascinated by the idea of a catalogue of facilities, and I just wonder, I'm interested in your thinking, to what extent do you think this idea can be replicated in the context of social science, given that we do not have labs, we don't have tools, but we just have expertise stored in our brain?
Great, thank you. So if everybody could respond, and then if we had some, but I fear not, we will just then close. Go, who would like to start? Go ahead.
I can say a few words maybe on the opportunities for early career researchers. In EU Connexus, well, PhD students are actually a key target for us, so we really want to develop and empower a community of young researchers on the thematic of EU Connexus, you know, sustainable development of coastal cities. And to that regard, we are trying to develop PhD co-tutels within the Alliance. We are providing mobility grants, and we are also trying to encourage PhD students to really participate to our conferences early on. We are also looking to develop a mentoring program for postdoc or early career researchers in the next project under WIDERA. And we had a talent development program through a training program for early career researchers in our SWAS project, which aimed at developing young researchers' transversal skills. It was a pilot program and was very successful, but now with the end of the funding, we don't really know if it is going to be sustained. I had one last idea, but I forgot it. Yeah, at institutional level also, in terms of talent management, universities were strongly encouraged to obtain the HRS4R label, you know, the Human Resources Strategy for Research label, because, well, aiming at improving our own institutional policy and action plans for better talent management. And a lot of partners of the Alliance have actually started to engage in this journey of obtaining the label.
So quick response we are doing lobbying. We are currently working all together, the alliance. There is an association of the alliances, and we are doing some work. We have already published a paper on the funding. So we are working together. But I agree with you, we are not that powerful, in fact, on this. But we are at the beginning. We still have 1 year to change or to influence the Commission more or less on this. The success is measured for us with the KPI from the Commission. So clearly for the facilities, it will be in terms of mobility, because we have the pressure to do mobility. So we'll give figures on mobility on this. But the scientific impact afterwards, yeah, will be great, and we will hope to connect some publication with the mobility thanks to facilities, but it's even more longer to achieve on this. With early stage researcher, we exactly do the same. With the seed funding, we try to improve the skills of our PhD on this. So we try to focus the call on young researcher each time. It's easier, as you mentioned. Experienced researchers have their own network, so on them, we cannot do anything. But for early stage researcher, they can start the network thanks to a European university, and I think it's an added value of the European university. For the facilities in social sciences, if your facilities are brain, you have the networking platform you develop. We do have the same in ELISA, so maybe it's not this kind of presentation, but I'm sure what you are developing is kind of CV or resume profile, and then you can try to find. Maybe there will be the possibility to connect with the people to get in touch and it's what we try to do also. So connecting people is it's another way. If you don't have facilities, fine on this.
Yes, to answer the question of the lobbyists. As Antoine said, 41 alliances signed a statement the 29th of September. You find it online, called long-term. It's called making the initiative a success in the long term. So this is being done, but the main problem that I'm involved in discussions about the Horizon Europe, FP10 program. The main problem, for example, about research and innovation funds for the alliances is that the one about the competition and the excellence of funding, and this is something that has been discussed because there is a consideration that not all universities alliances are only excellent, so that shouldn't be funded through Horizon Europe, just to put it very simply. And this is something that we are trying to counter at our level. And what we did, for example, is that we sent an input to the European Commission to the investment pathways. That was a document wrote by the DG IAC. So we sent our input, our alliance input on this investment pathway to suggest some avenues for the future funding. But of course, as I said earlier, if you are thinking about only a SWAFs, I mean, it's not resolutive of the multi-missions endeavors that we have. So it's, it's just, it will be discussed. About the young researchers, I think what is difficult here is that universities, alliances are a top-down initiative. And when you come to top-down initiative, it's difficult to gather all the researchers, of course, on board, also because of political reasons. Sometimes researchers in the labs feel far from the management level of the universities. They don't care, that they have other important things to do. So if you want to involve them, of course, it's starting on early stage researchers, but I would be a little bit critical here, saying that the decision to put the focus on early stage researchers must come from the management of the university. So this is not, I think it's not the case everywhere. So yes. And to answer your question, I think it's, I cannot say more about the legal entity. I think that it's necessary because, as I said, our universities are huge. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it's, They are all multidisciplinary. They're all comprehensive. Often it's capital cities, universities, very historical universities. So if you want to keep everything together, you need a special coordination force, I would say. But then I cannot really say more. Should ask the General Secretariat. Sorry.
Just before I head over to Zeynep, just one footnote also on the funding of research going forward. I think there's also a little bit of a mismatch between being involved also in panels of the ERC, which is individual researchers and research excellence. Also, a lot of the horizons are actually not multidisciplinary, but what we did, for example, in our research alliance is actually to facilitate multidisciplinary research, but actually the funding streams at the European level to do that are virtually zero. And that was when I remember a long time ago, FP7, when I was involved doing the European election survey, which is no longer funded through the EU, just to say, we're doing it by private partners now, which is kind of very interesting, but that was actually to do multidisciplinary, big networks, and that was, so it's very strange how some of these things also continuously don't have a continuous funding or, let's say, philosophy at the European level. So there's some mismatch between this, and I think it will be great for University Alliance as a lobbyist perspective, but to think more strongly about what we advocate. And then Zeynep, and then
Thank you. Yeah, quickly, just to follow up on your question. So we do have labs in the social sciences, not all of us, but we do have labs. And within Civica Research, we tried indeed to have collaboration and make use of existing labs from universities who did not have them. So we have been very quickly confronted to legal issues, to budgetary issues. It was not that easy for you from LSE to use the Bocconi lab, etc. We quickly were confronted to some, I told you, legal and budget constraint. Then to follow up on what Antoine was saying, we indeed build capacity, and we are still building, because we have an online campus where different courses are offered at the level of the bachelor, master, and we have a dedicated course catalog for early stage researchers where any PhD researcher can register to a course that is open online. And this was boosted, I must say, with the COVID crisis, because we were forced to move online. We had, reluctant people were not there anymore. So somehow we have built capacity, and we have been sharing them, but maybe it doesn't reflect the same way as it for engineering, like having big labs where you actually build a machine. So yeah, I just want to follow up on this for you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I think it was very obvious that we had a lot of expertise around the table. Thank you so much for giving that expertise and to inform what we are going to do forward, and also the CIVICA discussion that Zeynep was referring to we have this afternoon. Before I wrap up, I also would like to thank Sarah Thompson and other people at Sciences Po for actually making this possible, for also helping me to chair this. So just a round of applause to the panelists and to the organization here at Sciences Po. I'm looking at where we're supposed to go now, just